Hello everybody and welcome to #Ambitious. I'm your host Andrew Leong, and in this episode we have Drew Cockton, founder of Owen Drew Luxury Candles. What I really love about this episode is how raw and honest Drew is. We talk about how Drew built his business, but also about businesses that have failed in the past and mental health. We talk about how Drew has used these to his advantage to build and grow a successful luxury candle and fragrance business. Drew, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it. It's an honour to meet you.
Thank you.
Just for those who don't know about your business, just thought you could maybe just give us a bit of a rundown of how you got started.
So I own a luxury home fragrance business that makes candles, luxury room sprays, sleep mists. And we're moving into perfume and bath and body products. But I started in my kitchen 2 years ago, and it's kind of gone from the kitchen table literally to a fairly big business, which I love.
What? So how did you get started?
So I was a huge candle fan for years. Always burning like Yankee, or as like a real treat, I'd get a Joe Malone. And in the meantime, I'd just burn like Glade, or ones you can get in Asda or whatever. But I was always disappointed with them, with the fragrance throw, and in particular the way they give off black soot and smoke, and the jar that the candle's in gets covered in black smoke. And so I started making my own ones out of entirely natural products.
Wow.
Most candles are made from paraffin wax, which is derived from petrol. So I started making them out of vegan soy wax in the kitchen, blending with essential oils, using a wooden wick, and started gifting them to friends and family. And from there, I kind of got the courage to go to like little Christmas markets in schools and that kind of thing, and village halls. And almost overnight, really, the demand for them really took off, and I had people contacting me on social media wanting to buy them, and it was just like a big domino effect. And we had a really, really busy Christmas 2 years ago, and then when the drudgery of office life in January set in, I decided to take a gamble and quit my job in financial services and launched Owen Drew full time.
Wow. How did you just come about thinking, I'll just make a candle?
I've always been like quite creative, and obviously working in financial services, you don't get to be creative. So my background was I studied German and business.
Wow. So
I was employed like looking after the relationships with partners in Germany and doing a lot of travel. And I think people think it's lovely to be staying in hotels and things, but it's not when you're on your own. And it's just, so I used to do those like adult colouring books and things. I was always kind of like looking for ways to have a creative outlet. So I watched a couple of YouTube videos on how to make candles, and it went from there really. So
when you did your fair, you saying you're going to craft shows and things like that, were you nervous?
Yes.
Because you're putting yourself up for rejection, really, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. And I interestingly, the kind of like posher the venue, the less people bought them and the less people spent, and it was I was really surprised. I kind of had in my mind that my target audience was going to be wealthy, middle-aged women, and it just wasn't really. But yeah, back to your point, it was But on the flip side, originally I suppose my friends were buying them out of, to kind of show me support. I don't want to say help sympathy, but it was so encouraging then when complete strangers did buy them and loved them. It was like, oh,
it's different, isn't it? It's a
absolutely.
Different feeling.
Yeah, like they are good. People, my friends aren't just telling me that. Yeah, people are actually enjoying them.
So when you're in those trade shows and you had a kind of a target market that you were after, and then it turned out it wasn't them.
Yes.
What happened then? What did that change the way you marketed things?
We didn't really alter our marketing or anything. We just delivered the same message, that it was a luxury product, and it was handmade and craftsmanship and made in England, but it was just different people were buying it than I thought. And the kind of interestingly, some of the more deprived areas in Liverpool were the ones that were, ordering hundreds of pounds worth on the website. Yeah. And the places like Hassel and Caldy weren't. So
yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Very,
yeah,
very interesting.
But I think it's I think it could be something to do with people were kind of buying them as a way of creating a luxurious sanctuary in their home.
There's so much negativity about the high street at the moment. You can't really kind of pick up or listen to the news without some big company going bust. But you made the decision to open a shop, haven't you? And
well, interestingly, our first shop was on an industrial estate in Birkenhead with roller shutters and corrugated iron roof. So we took the deliberate decision not to open on the high street. Firstly, because the rents in Liverpool or Chester are just absolutely astronomical. But we covered the first month's rent, within a few hours of trading. So it was great, and we kind of kitted it out like a luxury boutique. We installed a chandelier up the corrugated iron roof and bought all nice furniture and rugs, and people loved the fact that they could come and there was going to be no one else in there. They could park outside.
I was going to say, you've got parking there, haven't you?
Absolutely.
Which the high street doesn't have these days.
So I've got a couple of friends that own hair salons, and I've said to them, I'd open on an industrial estate. You get twice as much for your money.
There is a big shift in industrial estates now, isn't it? It's the retail parks are taking a lot of the business from the city centres because you can park your car and you're just there. The shops are there.
But we are opening our first Liverpool city centre shop now in the Royal Albert Dock.
So what made you pick the docks?
They contacted us to see if we were interested in a pop-up over the Christmas period. We bit the hand off, and we're looking to be open. I signed for it last week, got the keys yesterday, and we need to be open next week, so it's all systems go.
All right, so no sleep for you at the moment, no weekends?
No weekends,
It's a pretty big store, isn't it, that you've got?
It's huge, yeah, it's lovely. It's got the exposed brick and the lovely York stone floor and the columns. It's a gorgeous shop.
Do you have a vision of what the shop's going to look like, or do you bring a professional in? I know you're very creative yourself, so I can imagine you want to do that yourself, but how have you gone about that?
So we're bringing in professional Christmas decorators. We want a huge tree, and we want to make it look really magical. But I'm quite thrifty and can, I don't need to spend a lot of money to make something look nice. All the furniture in our shops, we get in IKEA, and we don't use professional shop fitters, but they, we give it the feel of a luxury boutique.
Fantastic. In terms of like your sales, is it mostly through the shop, or do you do online as well?
Yes, it was predominantly online to begin with, but now that's only probably 25% of our business. 50% being our shop. Because we have an existing shop on the Wirral, and then the rest are retail partners.
So how did you get your first batch of candles in a shop? What shop was it, and how did you feel?
They contacted me, and I thought, and this is going back to a point I originally made, it was actually a laundrette that contacted me. And I thought, a laundrette? I looked at it, but it's not like a normal laundrette. It's all dead modern, and it's one of those ones where you can get it all done in one go. But it's in quite a deprived area, but the people in there spend a fortune on like Spanish cleaning products and floor cleaner that smells of like a Tom Ford perfume. Like, money is no object to the people that go in there, and they were our first big.
Where's that? Is that in Liverpool?
L3.
Oh wow!
On the Eldonian estate. It's called the L3 Laundry Room. It's brilliant.
I'm going to have to pay them a visit. Wow. So how did you feel? I'm guessing you were really shocked, but you must have been excited by it.
Yeah, definitely. And they sold like absolute hotcakes, and then off the back of that, you know what Scousers are like. If someone's got something, they want it. Like they were all the kind of people in the area were in competition with each other to see, who could buy the most, which was great for us. And then off the back of that, then other retail partnerships followed. Florists, gift shops, aesthetics clinics, and we've just signed a big deal with the Doubletree Hilton in Liverpool to be stocked in their spa. Oh wow, which is really, really exciting.
So you're going from strength to strength to strength.
Yeah, I love it.
Notice you're winning awards as well. So, and you got
Yeah.
celebrities buying
Yeah,
it.
so we won our first award at the Small Awards in May. That was Best Startup Business.
Nice.
And then we just won New Business of the Year at the We're Alive Awards, which was a huge honour. And then we are up for the NatWest Great British Entrepreneur Award for our team. So obviously it's not just me that does it. We've got a fantastic team. And then also the Liverpool Awards. I'm up for one of those as well. So it's that exciting.
What's your secret then? You seem to be doing a lot of things right.
Firstly, it's our candles burn brilliantly. There's no wastage. They burn beautifully. They give off amazing scent and amazing fragrance throw. The packaging people love, and I think that's it really. And just our kind of attention to quality and detail, and we really look after our customers. I know every business says they do that. But we have a 5-star rating across the internet, hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews. We don't have a single negative review.
Wow.
Which I hope no one listening to this now just does it out of spite. But yeah.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
Because I know how scathing people can be.
I was going to say, I think you might be the only business in the world that's not happened to, because it only takes a small error, or well, not even an error, but just someone on a bad day, really.
Yeah, we do, of course, make mistakes, and orders can go missing or things can get lost off, but the way we deal with it is, we go above and beyond. Yeah. And people appreciate it. And whenever we've had a complaint, we've dealt with it properly, and then they've become I call them fan ambassadors. They become customers that are fans and also ambassadors and tell everyone about us. So
that's sometimes what I always say, having a mistake sometimes is the best thing that can happen to you.
Absolutely.
Because you learn to be better. But you can just turn that customer into an absolute raving fan.
Well, they say, don't they, if you have good service, you tell 4 people, and if you've had bad service and then they resolve it, you tell 10 people, about. So yeah,
that's absolutely brilliant. So did you always see yourself as an entrepreneur?
Well, to be honest, I have been, and I've had a couple of failed businesses. When I was 23, and now fresh out of business school, I opened a 13-bedroom hotel.
Wow, that is hard going.
I know, totally crazy with hindsight that I did it. It was on, Canal Street in Manchester, in the gay party district.
Can we talk more about that? Because it sounds really, really interesting.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it's all good and well talking about the success of the things, but I think a true entrepreneur, you're not really a true entrepreneur until you've been tested.
Absolutely.
And you've obviously been tested many times.
Yeah. So I was just totally naive, and I'd written a business plan and I went to a bank for funding and things, but I just hadn't worked out my costings or really basic things that you need to get right, actually. The devil being in the detail. But so I think I was probably making a daily loss running it, but I just couldn't see it at the time. I was just a bit loving it, really, having a 13-bedroom hotel on Canal Street in Manchester. It was that's not to say I didn't take it seriously, but and then things we got malicious TripAdvisor reviews from competitive businesses, which was so damaging, which is why I think this time round I've been so red hot on making sure we don't get bad reviews and we look after people so that they don't feel the need to do that, leave a spiteful review. That's probably one of the biggest things I learned. And I think probably one of the biggest things I learned from that as well, because I did that on my own, which, it would have been too much for a family to run.
A hotel is probably one of the most difficult things you could ever set up. So
it was, I'd get a phone call at 5 o'clock in the morning. Drew, can you come down? The fire alarm has gone off and the fire brigade are here. And it'd be like, oh, do you know what I mean? There was no switch off. It was a 24/7 business. Did you
stay in the hotel? Did you live in the hotel yourself, or did you live off site?
I lived off site, but I was basically in the hotel all the time. So one of the biggest things I learned was learning not to think I can do everything. Mike said, I micromanage, but I don't think I do. I hand a lot of stuff over to other people. Do you know what I mean? I was never very good at managing staff, and so I try to stay out of that in our business now. We've got 12 staff now, soon to be 15 or 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a huge, that's a massive business growth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
So do you leave the managerial stuff to Mike then?
I do. Like rotas and things like that. I don't get involved, and I hate doing. I'm too nice to be like, I can't tell people off, or so I just stay out of that altogether.
Yeah. I can see exactly where you're coming from, and to have that self-awareness is really important. And a lot of people don't, I find, and that's one of the things when you start your own business is you want to do everything yourself, don't you? And especially when you start to delegate stuff and maybe people don't do a good enough job to begin with, and you think by the time
I may as well just do
it myself. And so how have you found that transition of delegating and giving away your baby to...
it sounds corny, but having really good staff. So when I had the hotel, I employed my friends and like people I knew who were actually really bad for the business, but I couldn't see it at the time. And then I was in like an awkward position that I couldn't let them go because they were my friend. Whereas this time I've kind of taken a conscious decision not to employ friends or family or anything like that. And we've got absolutely fantastic staff. The first person we ever took on is a lady called Angelica from Brazil, and she's just brilliant. She's absolutely fantastic. She does everything, and she kind of holds it together, to be honest.
Do you find it hard finding staff?
Again, I stay out of it now. So there's interviews taking place today for our new Albert Dock shop. And I'm just staying completely out of them. Yeah.
Do you have like a values or specific people that, I know you stay out of it, but do you have some sort of like say, and well, this is our kind of the way our brand is, so we want to
absolutely. Yeah. They've, how do you put it, we're picky, which is good. We only take on the best. And we pay our staff, like more than the living wage. But I've always been creative and an entrepreneur. And so, after the failed hotel business, I tried like a sandwich catering business, which didn't work. I was just naive, really, but full of enthusiasm. But all the mistakes I made in those businesses taught me everything, that I've done properly this time round. So I'm so glad that they did happen, really.
So, I mean, I can imagine a lot of people, if they've had a failed business, which there's no such thing as a failed business, it's all learning. But to be like, I'm never doing that ever again. What's different about you? You've kept coming back. You're obviously a fighter. How did your brain work?
It was like a disastrous failure. Like it was foreclosed. Like the bailiffs came. It was a complete nightmare. But you just dust yourself off, and I've never really thought about that, but
that's really inspirational. How are you marketing yourself? What's working for you? Because it's so competitive.
It's unbelievably competitive, so you've got like huge big players like Joe Malone, which is backed by Estee Lauder. You've got the Yankee Candle, you've got mass-produced candles in Asda, they're
even
everywhere.
Aldi is jumping on the back of it as
Absolutely. And then on the flip side, there's also thousands and thousands and thousands of people like me who started making them. You can get kits on the internet. You can start out. So I've got them as well. People doing the same product as us for half the price. But we're still surviving and growing. In fact, and it's because, for the reasons I mentioned, our attention to detail, our packaging, our customer service, our branding, and just sheer hard work as well, I suppose. I was having a discussion before. It's very easy to set up a business today, but it might be easy to set up a business, but to make it successful is absolutely. Well, most 75% fail in the first year, don't they? So I was, was absolutely buzzing to pass the 2-year mark recently.
You're doing really well, and you are an inspiration. And what's your vision for the company going forward?
We're a small fish at this stage. We're quite well known in the kind of Liverpool Merseyside area, but still quite unknown nationally. So we've got big plans for 2019. We want to get in the department stores. And I think this Albert Dock shop we're opening is going to be a springboard for us. I hope so anyway.
I'm excited to see it.
I'm
I can't
really
wait.
excited, yeah.
Are you going to have a lawn?
In fact, it's next Wednesday evening if you're free.
Yeah, I'm going to come.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, I read a really inspirational article on your website by Happily Magazine.
Happyful Magazine.
And I read and I thought, wow. Could we talk about that?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. So I suppose, that article was about, and I was really nervous about doing it, really, but I'm so glad I did. I have bipolar type 2 disorder, and actually when I opened the hotel, I was probably going what's like described as a manic episode, and there's a big misunderstanding around bipolar, and people can think, you can be within an hour your mood's gonna it's not like that at all. It's cycles which can last months at a time, really. So one of the telltale signs when someone's having a manic episode, it can be things like they'll spend ridiculous amounts of money, like they'll be on a 17 grand a year job, but they'll go and buy a Porsche, they'll do something. So spending lots of money is one. Risk taking attitude is another one. High levels of energy and creativity, which I've used to my advantage, and I've channeled them, and so in a way I'm blessed to, I know that sounds dead cheesy, but have been made the way I am, and I'm glad in a way. And so when I started the candle business at home, I know people in my family were really concerned that I was having another episode. And then when I quit my job, it was oh Jesus, risk-taking attitude, foolish decision-making. But, perhaps if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have taken that chance, or, but I'm pleased I did.
Wow. That's really inspirational. And
thank you.
It is one of those things that is hard to talk about. I get to meet a lot of great people.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of people have had sort of a difficult background, and they've used it to advantage. So the way you've used it to your advantage is absolutely brilliant, and it's really inspirational. And I read and I thought, wow, that's why I contacted you, because I wanted you to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it because of that?
Because it was a mix of everything, because obviously your success. And then when I read that, I was like, we need that story needs to go out, and people need to hear that, because I've got friends who run businesses, and often they'll have, anxiety or a lot of self-doubt, or what's the word called? Imposter syndrome stuff.
I get that.
Yeah, I get it as well. Yeah,
it's so important to talk about, isn't it? I'm glad that there's this culture that people are now being open and honest about. There were times in my job when having horrendous anxiety, or I felt I couldn't get out of bed because I felt depressed. But you could never say that, to your manager, and even now I don't think you can. But hopefully it's being broken down.
I think it is starting to be broken down. I think the more we talk about it, the better it is, because I watched a really good interview recently by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Oh yeah.
And he's talking about he had depression.
Yeah.
And it's just when you see people like this who succeeded in life talking about their struggles, it just makes it more acceptable.
Absolutely. Well, when I did the interview with Happyful and I'd signed it off, I kind of thought, suppose there will be potential investors in our business that might be put off by that. I could have shot myself in the foot.
But would you want to work with them if they were
exactly.
So before, a couple of years ago, I was working in management consultancy, and we were building up this management consultancy, and we were young. We didn't go to Oxford or Cambridge, and we're from Liverpool, so we have the Scouse accent. And we'd be going to London, and we'd be meeting really big clients. And we used to worry that we looked too young. We didn't have the right background, and we didn't have the right elocution.
Yes.
And we just decided in the end, if these people don't like who we are, then we don't want to work with them anyway. I love this. So, Well, just being in the dock, I'm really made up. You're in the Albert Dock.
Thank you.
There's so many great places there, and
we're going to be next door to the leather satchel
Yeah,
company.
yeah.
They're going to be our next door neighbour. And they won that NatWest Great British Entrepreneur Award a few years ago, I believe. So we're kind of, it's funny that we've ended up being next to them because we're on similar paths, I think.
Journey sounds very similar. Yeah.
Perfect.
But yeah, let's talk about your Christmas collection, what you got coming up.
Yeah, so before you ask what one of the reasons why I think we're successful is our candles have a story behind them, the designs. And we're bringing out our Christmas collection, which is really fabulous, but it's not a normal Christmas collection. You know, it's not, there's no cinnamon, there's no vanilla, there's no cranberry. So we've brought one out called 1843.
Yeah.
Because that was the year Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol.
Wow.
So we've taken inspiration from a Victorian Christmas. So it's a really unusual candle. It smells of roasted chestnuts and rum and spice from the Empire, and got like a faint note of coal fire in as well. So it's really unusual. And we had a fabulous press launch party for that in Smugglers Cove in the Albert Dock, and we had Charles Dickens's great grandson there dressed up as Dickens. It was brilliant. So we do things differently, you know. We do a story behind them, and we've just brought out a candle for Remembrance Sunday, a poppy candle, and we've covered our shop in thousands of red poppies. And
the creative process of, because I was looking at candles and it looks like you're constantly innovating and bringing out new scents. And is your brain do you have a creative process, or is it kind of like you're in the bath and shower and you come up with an idea?
It's all the time, to be honest. And you've absolutely you can't sit still. You know, I'm already thinking now, like, Jesus, I need to get next Christmas collection sorted out the way. I need to be working on it now. We're quite behind with everything this year. But yeah, you know, they editors and things they plan all the Christmas gift guides in June. So we had to have it ready then, you know. It's but yeah, I take inspiration all the time. I just I was in, like, I don't know where I was actually, but I thought, well, we need to do something for Remembrance Day. And my business partner was like, Mike was like, no, Drew, like, it's 2 weeks. You're not throwing that into production. And so he's the very kind of level-headed. You know, he manages all the operations. He's very talented and organised, whereas I'm a bit creative and disorganised. And so he tries to rein me in and saying I can't do things, but I always get my own way.
So where do you spend most of your time in the business now? Because you're obviously very creative, and you've brought in a business partner to help you on the kind of the more admin-y type things and on the kind of operational type things. But where do you spend most of your time in the business?
All over, like, I know it's a real cliche, but no day is the same. So I've got this podcast with you now, and then I'm going to meet a visual merchandiser in the Albert Dock, and then I've got a meeting with a retail partner. You know, it's just different things. I try to get to see as many of our retail partners as possible to, you know, work with them and help them. And also, I'm very hands-on in the workshop where it gets made by hand. There's no machinery in there at all. I've got a really keen eye for detail, so unless the candles are absolutely perfect, they just go on this, like, we call it the reject shelf, which I take home then and burn. But yeah, you know, I'm here, there and everywhere all the time, really. I try and be in the shop as much as possible because I like to remember our customers and build a relationship with them. And I'm terrible with names, but really good with faces. So,
I'm the same. I'm the same. I see you're very much behind the brand. Your personal brand is really grown as well as the brand itself. And is that a strategy you're using, or is it happening by accident? Or I
think it's a bit of both. You know, I think there's like a local competitor of ours who put something on their Instagram, like, and I think it was a dig at us saying, you know, they don't post pictures of them because they want their products to speak for themselves. And but actually, I think people buy into
100%.
The person. 100%. And do you know what? Like, on this journey, I've had so many people help me and support me, and customers who've, you know, everything we put up, they're sharing. Every event we do, they come, they bring their friend, and I think it's important to have the face behind the business for people to, you know, to buy into you and want to help. And, you know, 99% of people like to see people succeed and help people, and that's really great.
And I think also now, especially the beautiful thing about social media is we get to access celebrities and we get to see our favorite sports people, etc. But like you said, people buy from people. Yeah. And there is a fascination now with those who are behind the business.
Yes.
I think being an entrepreneur, it's become cool. And entrepreneurs are the new rock stars. Yeah. And people want to see.
So it used to be a bit of a dirty word,
didn't it? Yeah. Now it's the cool thing to be.
Absolutely.
It's not the easy thing to be. But people do want to see the person behind the brand, and it's...
When we put something on Instagram, if it's like a product shot, it may get 100 likes. But if it's a picture of me and Mike, or like I've named the business after my grandparents, if it's a picture of them, it gets like 4 times as many likes and interaction. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you named it after your grandparents. Can you explore that a little bit?
My name is Drew, and the business is called Owen Drew, and you thought I was called Owen.
Yes.
Everyone does it.
Yes, I was embarrassed about that.
No, don't be daft. But yeah, my grandmother's maiden name was Owen, and she married Edmund Drew, which is my mum's maiden name. All my family are the Drews, but it's my given name.
So in terms of yourself, what's been your biggest challenge and how have you overcome it?
Do you know, we had an instance recently which was just like horrendously, egregiously bad, where someone had copied and pasted text from our website, the business story. Yeah. It was just, he'd been a customer, so obviously we had to get a solicitor involved and send him a cease and desist, you know, because it was just sheer intellectual property theft and plagiarism. He'd literally copy and pasted on our website. There's a about us, and it's got the business story of how I started in the kitchen, how I was making them from natural ingredients, and he just copied the whole thing.
So was he starting his own business or something?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, he was trading, and it actually came about because he ended up getting stocked in one of our retail partners, and they said, oh, you know, he's a similar story to you. And I looked him up, and I was like, they are my words. And I was fuming. So that's been one of the worst things, really. It has all gone down now. Like he did respond to the letter.
How long did that take?
His website was down for about 2 weeks whilst everything was rewritten, but you know, it'd been there for a year without me knowing.
Oh, right. It's really frustrating.
It's so annoying. Like, you know, I'm all for people. You know, I get people messaging me being like, I'm starting making my own candles. Can you give me some advice? And you know, I'm all for competition and helping people, but that was just
copying.
That was atrocious. So I think that's probably been one of the biggest challenges. And people, I think they've heard about my story and how I started making them, and people like, oh, I'll give that a go. Yeah. And they make it looks very similar to ours, and it's half the price, and people will give it a go to begin with, but then they'll say, you know, it just wasn't a patch. Yeah. So kind of, that kind of race to the bottom in pricing has been challenging for us. Yeah. But we've weathered the storm, and we're still growing because we're better.
So how did Paris Hilton?
Yeah, so she's a fan of our candles. Like, absolutely love her. I'm making it. She's my guilty pleasure. I love her. I think she's fantastic. And actually, I think one of the biggest things I admire about her is she's an entrepreneur and a businesswoman.
She's very clever.
She's very clever. She's put her name to so many things, and you know, she's got this huge global brand. Yeah. So, you know, she's absolutely massive in the Far East and China and India. She's got something like 250 shops.
Well, she was Kim Kardashian before Kim Kardashian was around.
Kim Kardashian was her skivvy, which I love reminding people of. But so I met Paris at a meet and greet she did in Liverpool, and I took her like a big collage of pictures I'd made of her for her to sign. And after she'd signed, I think she thought it was for her to keep, but I had to be like, can I have that back? So I met her there, and then she started following me on Instagram and commenting on my stuff. And she's that good. Like, she interacts with her fans and her followers. And to begin with, people were like, "Oh, that won't be her. That'll be..." Yeah. But it is her. So when she DJs every summer in like really good clubs in Ibiza, so I went to see her, And she really looked after me and Mike. She had us in her like
Oh, wow.
VIP section. We was like doing shots in the booth with her before her session, and she took us in like a dressing room. So she really like goes above and beyond, like looking after her super fans. And then I went to see her again in Marbella, and she did the same thing then. And obviously, every time, you know, I've given her candles, scents and stuff, and she loves them. So I sent her one of our 24 carat gold royal wedding candles that we did that cost 750 quid, which she absolutely loved. But when we won like the business award in May, she tweeted us.
Oh, wow.
So that was just absolutely massive for us, you know. So
I love that. So you saw an opportunity there, and someone you look up to, and are you the type of person that goes and reaches out? Well, I mean, you obviously are, but like, what goes through your head?
I'm not embarrassed to ask for things or ask for help. And someone who really helped me in the beginning as well was, have you heard of the skincare brand Rodial?
Yes.
So they do really like off-the-wall treatments. They've got like bee venom in and snake. She's got one that's got like snake venom in. And that's founded and run by a lady she's called Mrs. Rodial on Instagram. And she's got this big, huge global business. But I met her through a Virgin Trains competition. And she was so nice. It was like a business clinic. It was just when I was just starting out, and she gave me loads of advice on branding and things like that. And I kept in touch with her, and she invited me to go and meet her in her like Chelsea office in London. Gave me more tips.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, people like helping people, and she was absolutely lovely. She's got a really good book called How to Be an Overnight Success.
Yeah.
So, and she's friendly with the Kardashians. They advertise with, they're in her advertising campaign. Yeah, campaigns, Kendall Jenner's.
So do you go and seek people that you want to learn from? And...
Absolutely, yeah. I love learning from people and different business people, and people who inspire me. But yeah.
What do you do to stay sharp or stay creative? Did you read any books or anything like that?
So I read Mrs. Rodial's book. It's not even her name, Mrs. Rodial. She's called Maria Hatzistefanis. But I read her book. That was basically she started making skincare in her spare bedroom.
Yeah.
And now, you know, she's stocked in Harrods and Selfridges. And so reading about her journey was really, really interesting and inspiring. And I love Dragon's Den. I love watching The Apprentice. Don't get that much time to read. I should do more, but it's like kind of like the last thing I feel like doing.
I'm the same at the moment. I don't get any time. I used to love reading, but I'm just struggling for time at the moment.
Can't concentrate on it. But yeah.
So when you got your business, and it's like your baby, isn't it? You're probably in there all the time, and you're constantly thinking about it. Do you do anything to wind down and relax?
Wine, which isn't good.
Wine and candles.
Red wine and candles. Yeah. I don't get to. I know that sounds a bit obnoxious, but I don't get to relax that much, to be honest. But I'm planning a much needed holiday in January. Mike and I are going to go away. But I think sleeping really is. Yeah. Mike gets quite annoyed with me because on Sundays I just nap, wake up, eat, nap. Just that's the only way I can switch off. Yeah.
So, because you're both in the business together.
Yeah, that's really hard.
Oh, I was going to say
So we're like life partners. That sounds incredibly cheesy, boyfriends, whatever you want to call it. But also business partners as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, had like a screaming row last night, but we get on with it.
So how do you manage it? Do you have a point where you say, right, we are not going to talk about work, or do you just always talk about work?
We do, to be honest. It's hard not to, do you know what I mean? But in fact, one of the things we argued about the other night was I was reading for the first time in ages. Actually, we didn't have the TV on. We had the log burner on. I was just reading, and he wanted to talk about work, and I shushed him, which is really egregiously rude. But yeah, it was just like a reflex thing. But yeah, he was dead annoyed about that. But I was like, I don't want to talk about this at 9:00 at night, you know. You
do need those points just to because you literally are thinking about it non-stop, aren't you? And when you're not thinking about it, you're in it. And if you're not in it, you're working on it. So you just need those points where you just need to turn off.
And the thing with social media as well, we get
Yeah.
people messaging us on Instagram, you know, which I'll never complain about, you know, because absolutely, but it's hard to not reply, you know, to an Instagram message at 10 o'clock at night. Or
Well, even a 20-minute wait for someone on the internet it's a long time, isn't it? People's patience is so different online. So it is 24/7 now, thanks to the internet.
Yeah, it really is. So I need to get a separate work phone, really. That's something I need to look at.
But now you're an inspiration, and I really enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
And wish you all the luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you can, I suppose I should get this in as well, buy our candles on www.owendrewcandles.com.
Can people reach out to you if they want to have a chat with you?
Yeah. So you can find me, my Instagram is at Mr. Owen Drew, and our business Instagram is at Owen Drew Candles. That's the same for Twitter.
But Mr. Owen Drew, but your name's not Owen.
It's not, no. So I've ripped off Mrs. Rodial with Mrs. Rodial, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and look forward to coming and seeing
the
Albert Dock store.
Brilliant, yeah, definitely come next Wednesday.
I will do. Thank you.